Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Yes, everybody, Russ on the West End Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. Chesney's back. When Chesney's back, you know we've got a good interview. Another My Hammers 11. We've had over. I've got a count. We've got over 500 interviews, I reckon, of My Hammers 11, and over 100 ex-players. And actually, this sort of like coincided quite nicely. We had Paul Brand and Callum McNaughton on a couple of weeks ago talking about this book, Inside the Academy. Now, when I was on holiday, I forgot it, but I've read it since, and it's a fucking good book. And there's lots of really good stories and lots of players we've had on the channel. You know, guys like Bertie, guys like Paco Craig as well, and people like that. All about sort of the highs and lows of the academy. And one of the most interesting stories was Darren Blewitt, and in a weird about a time, I was going to get Darren on the channel, so it sort of worked quite nicely. So we're going to get Darren on, and also it's quite good in a weird way. Is this week is Male Mental Health Week as well in the UK as well. So it's all sort of it's all like I've planned it. I wish I had planned it a little bit better, but there we go. How are you doing, Dad? You all right, man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, Russ. Yeah, good to be on the show. As you said, yeah, we had 500 guests on, but there's only one Darren Blewitt, mate. So
there's only one Darren Blewitt. Indeed.
That's good. Pleasure to be here, mate. Really looking forward to having a chat.
Yeah, me too, man. Because I think it's one of those things where I've read the book and it's a fantastic read, but it just sort of, and I've seen you obviously recently around like the under-21s because obviously I did the stuff there, and I've seen you backing around the sort of popping in for a cup of tea with Kenny and stuff like that, and it's sort of come full circle for you now, hasn't it? It seems.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of things happened in my life for the last few years, but the last year or so, I really started to build relationships again with people at the club. So I know Kenny quite well anyway, and they brought the Academy Alumni back, and it's the first time they brought it. It's where ex Academy graduates come through, and it's a place for us to reconnect and go back to the training ground. And I hadn't been back there for years, so I went back there a few months ago and signed the wall, and it's there. That'll be there forever. I mean, it's an amazing day for myself, but to reconnect with them people again was amazing because I've really opened a few doors. I stayed away from the club for a long time through certain reasons and stuff we could probably go into. But go back there, it's a lot's changed. But I got that feeling like I did when I was 10 when I first walked through them doors. It was fucking great. Sorry, I don't know if I swear or not, but it was great, mate. And yeah, I loved going back, and there's hopefully more to come. I've done a charity game I played in a couple of weeks ago, which is good again. The West Ham Legends for Dagan Rebbage raised loads of money for DT First Aid charity. So to be involved with a few of the lads, and yeah, mate, good stuff, and there's good stuff happening in the future as well. So I'm unfortunately for people, you might see my face a little bit more and hear my voice a bit more, but yeah, I'm back on the circuit a little bit, and I'm loving it, mate. I'm loving it. It's good.
Yeah, it is good. It is good, man. I think, and also I think in the last sort of, from my perspective, last 2-3 years particularly, there has been a real reconnection with the academy and the old guard, so to speak. I mean, obviously you've got Kenny in charge. Obviously Mark's now back in the 21s. Obviously he went up to the first team with Noisy. He's gone back into the 21s. Potsy, Kevin, Keano. I know you hire him in very high stead. Colton, Zavon, it does seem there's a bit more of a connection back with the academy and what was the academy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that will happen because obviously Nobody's gone up to sporting director now and stuff like that role. I think that's a big part. I mean, I don't know if you see the clip with him coaching as such, and it was him, Anton, and Bobby, and I think he's so hands-on. I mean, he's got a role where I don't think he really has quite understood the role yet. He's getting there. He's got people around him and stuff, but he's still that. He's just come out of playing. He understands the club. He wants that. I think that connection is key. Hopefully that continues. Obviously, the new manager coming in, so we'll see. But I think that's something he's had a part to play in that. And although we don't speak off as often as we used to, we still connect every now and then. And he said the same to me. Dale, come down whenever because I want to do this. I want to do that. I want people to connect. And yeah, mate, it's brilliant. I mean, I've met people that I haven't seen for years and go back and Kevin Keane, Kenny Brown, especially Kevin, and the newer people I'm meeting, and it's funny to talk about stories and I mean the youth team setup is so different. I mean, we went back there the other day when I was there. There was a supporter cabin, about 2 weights, and the little canteen. Now there's just people everywhere, analysis and I mean there used to be one bin. There's like where we should chuck it, all the players just get tied up and thrown in and chucked with ice in there. Now there's about 25. So it is what football is now. It's changed. I mean, even though I still think the training ground side of it needs a lot of work, from my opinion, because it's not a Premier League. If you're going to establish yourself at that level yet, I still believe, but it's so different to when I was there. So it was nice to go back and just reflect, and yeah, mate, things are happening, and then hopefully it's the start of another club kicking on again, because it's a start for everyone, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think, obviously we are entering a new era. And I think the first era for a long time where we haven't had a manager. Obviously, Lopetegui's coming in as a head coach, and I think with Tim, and Mark at the wheel, so to speak, I think it's a new way of working, and hopefully, I think good things. Obviously, we just started talking, and as I said, the Brazilian lad looks like he might be all signed and sealed and delivered. Under David Moyes, would we have signed an 18-year-old Brazilian for 30 million quid? Probably not. Probably not.
No, I mean, there's things I kind of can't say, but when I went back to the club, one of the things that was very clear to me, and then I've said my piece on Moyes anyway. It's not really done unbelievably. I'm not going to bore everyone with it. Done unbelievably, but you only have to look. The last time an academy graduate started for the first team in a Premier League game was 2020, and considering that club, that youth development, the under-18s won the Youth Cup, and the players in there, how many of them have got an opportunity baffled me. And I think now that should be the emphasis in regards to obviously bringing players and certain players that you need, which they do. There's loads of players they need to bring in. But I think the youth side of it has to be an avenue they need to go down. They've got some great youth team players there who are on the verge of it anyway. George Murphy, Casey, Orford. There's loads there, and I think they should be given opportunities. Like it blew my mind. I was just going, give them an opportunity. I mean, Phillips was there, and he come on for. I think they brought him on, and they had Earthy on the bench. I think it was Orford on the bench. And I was like, bring him on. Like what? So it was like. I think he got to that stage. So I think a fresh start for everyone. I hope they go down that route anyway. Because I just want to see it. I'm at that stage as a fan now. I just want to see exciting. I just want West Ham to just really go for it. Take the handbrake off. Go for it. Get that. Just get that. Play free. Go and attack and be on the front foot. It's just got to that stage the last year especially where it was so. Negative in regard to the style of play, which again the year before was effective. I get that, but I just take the handbrake off and let these guns go, and that's where my head's at with it anyway.
Well, it does seem, in terms of types of players we've been heavily linked with. I showed you the list, the 100 lists we've been linked with. Obviously, we've been linked to every one of them, and there is a different type of player. It looks like we're not being linked with the Premier League ready, the JWPs, the Harry Maguires. We're being linked with a 23-year-old from Udinese, or all over the place. And I think that's really exciting because they come with no preconceptions. We don't know what they're going to be like. We don't know what Luis Guilherme is going to be like. He's 18, doesn't speak a word of the Queens, a word of the Kings now. So. But in terms of UT, obviously I'm doing the announcing for all the under-21s and stuff. So I know a lot of the players, and there are some very good players. And you've been very vocal on X. I can't call it X because you get confused with X. On Twitter, about youth football. Obviously, when you was playing for the club, reserve team football was sort of your pathway, so to speak. There isn't a pathway for these kids now, is it? I think that's the issue for me at the moment. They're skillfully. There's no doubt that Lewis Orford is head and shoulders above Thomas Souček in terms of skill levels. But that physical nature, that's what I think they don't get, which you would have got in reserve team football, surely.
One of my biggest things that I've spoke about privately and quite publicly, that is reserve team football was an unbelievable grounding to a route into the first team. I was 15, 16 when I first broke into the reserve team. 15, I made my debut. Very young, but I was playing against. If you weren't playing on a Saturday, you was playing on a Tuesday or Tuesday for reserve. I Chelsea team that had World Cup winners in it. William Gallas, Robert Hoof, Babiaro, Melchior, Jesper Gronkia, Mario Stanic were playing on a Tuesday night at Dagenham Redbridge against West Ham. And I was playing with players that weren't playing in the first team for West Ham. So you're surrounded. But I remember playing on a Tuesday. I told this story before. I remember playing on a Tuesday night, Portsmouth away. And I played against Jason Roberts. And he threw me round like a rag doll. And I thought, I'm not good enough. I'm nowhere near it. But I just realised the levels. And I think... And I know this for a fact because I've spoke to some of the parents of the kids, or I say kids, I shouldn't be getting kids, it's derogatory, that the young adults who are on the first team, who ain't getting an opportunity, they're saying they're becoming stagnated because they're playing at this level and he's going through the motions now. And I said, what happened? What will happen is, I said, I'll be pushing to go out on loan. I'll be wanting to get out there because this type of football, I've watched 4 or 5 games last season, I was bored shitless. I could not believe the standard. It looked pretty and nice, but there was no real drive, and it wasn't like the intensity wasn't there. I mean, when I prepared for a game on a Tuesday when I was playing in reserves, my preparation was so on point. I had to be ready because I knew I was going to have a tough game. Ashley Young, I played Aston Villa, and at Watford he was at the time before he got his move to Aston Villa. I fucking couldn't believe how good he was. I thought, I'm knowing it again. I got taught a lesson that day, and it was just like, I mean, I put him on a stretcher, but that wasn't the point. Half hour before that, he nutmegged me within 2 minutes of the game in front of 10,000 people, and Watford won the reserve league. But he went off on a stretcher, so I was really happy at the time. But I think I delayed the move to Villa, to be fair. But it just showed the type of playing against. You knew you were playing against proper players, and I think that reserve team, the fact that's gone is a massive, massive thing. And I think any 18, 19, 20-year-old that's nowhere near or not getting a chance for first team, whether it's there because of them or the manager, try your hardest to get on loan. Just go.
You're right, man. I think I was listening to Ben Foster on one of his podcasts, and that's what he said. He said, kids need to get out on loan. It's almost now utilising that loan market like the old combinations league. So it's like, I look now, it's obviously Freddie's been out on loan with Wickham, players play of the year, fantastic, obviously didn't really work for Callum. Wrong move, wrong club, in my opinion. Should have gone to Orient rather than West Brom, in my opinion. And I think next year, maybe someone like Lewis, if we're looking at getting some first team football, or maybe send out Freddie again for another year. Do you know what I mean? Freddie's come back such a better player than he left, and that's how we need to be. It has to be the right move for the right club, innit? Otherwise, it's pointless.
No, yeah, agree, totally agree. And I think I've done it myself as well. I got to a point where when I was playing reserves, I went on loan a couple of times myself, and they were really successful loans in terms of more so over to Hereford. When I went on loan to Hereford in the conference, got promoted to League 2 that year. But I left before the end of the season, but I played about 20 games. I started them regularly. And it's not just the match that people that are missing out on. It's the prep. It's the day before. It's the build up to the game. It's the get up in the morning, eating the right thing at the right time. And then it's the warm up. It's taking all the environment in. It's what it means to the fans. It's all that stuff that comes in with it. It makes a massive difference, mate. It really does for your mindset, and it's just a big difference. It's just missed, sorely missed. Honestly.
Definitely. And we've had a lot of, as I said, I think we had I think it might have been Izzy. We had Izzy Ekiped on, and he was talking about reserve team football, and a similar situation with you and Jason Roberts, him and Les Ferdinand, and when they were playing Spurs, and he literally Les had to jump on him, and he was like, I'm a foot taller than him. But Les and I think it was Ian Pearce was playing alongside him, and he just told him, look, just give him like that. It was like a little move or whatever, and he just got it. And that's the type of stuff you can't train on a pitch. Mark Phillips cannot tell you that, bless him. As much as I love Mark and Kev, they can't do it it's in a game situation, and I think it's a detriment to English football. I think really getting rid of the reserve team football, definitely.
As we talked about Izzy, it's funny you talked about. It's funny that Izzy mentioned that because when I made one of my first games reserves, I was about 15, 16. He was a bit older than me. And his preparation for a game for me, because he knew it was one of my first games, we were from the same sort of area, so we knew each other a little bit, was to take me in the bar before the game and give me a shot of fucking brandy. So I'm glad he got slapped about by this person, and that makes me feel a little bit happier because I was all over the place that game. I had a night work. So it's funny his name come up. Lovely bloke.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love him. I mean, we had when obviously when we won the FA Youth Cup, 2 years ago, we had a bunch of them on, sort of almost like a Friends reunited. So like Adam and Izzy and Bertie. And Joe unfortunately couldn't come to that game, to come to that show. But we had like a bunch of them just talking about the old days and just going through and talking about that run because they almost got knocked out, a couple of, in the first round or something like that. And I love it. It's really nice to listen to those stories. And I mean, people like Adam and as I said, we had Lee Hodges and people like that. As you said, once you get a taste for that first team football, and you're not getting it at West Ham, it's about moving on and dropping down the division and still having a career really and stuff like that. It's I mean, I think it's really interesting. We've had obviously there's been we have a show each week called the Academy Show. We talk just about the academy because I think it's important. We've had Tony Carr on and people like that, and they talk about the role of the academy and how it's firstly to produce players for West Ham, and secondly it's to produce football players. If they're not going to play for West Ham, they're going to play for football, for a club at a professional level. And obviously, from you starting at the beginning, boyhood West Ham fan. Earliest memories of Upton Park, my friend. What were they?
My memory, I think my first game I actually went to was 94, 95, and I think it was Blackburn. I remember Shearer scored the winner. But being younger than that, obviously I lived 5 minutes from the ground. So we would me and my pals on match day used to have the corner, the east side stand in between East Side and Bobby Moore, and we used to try to climb up there and watch the game from there. Or the flats, we'd break into the flats and climb up and watch it over the top. So we're trying. You don't even be able to see a corner pitch, but that's how I used to watch it when I was 8 or 9 and stuff like that. But that's my only match I can remember was that. But for me, obviously being a fan, I'm a family West Ham, living so close to the ground. The earliest memory I can remember as a probably 6 or 7 was being in the garden and I could hear the roars. So I could hear if we scored or not. And I got so good at it because I played football in the garden during the game. I'd know score, or I thought I'd know score. I'd run indoors. Teletext would be on. That's showing how fucking old I am. Put teletext on, and then it'd come up, and you have to wait because it'd be like scroll through one, scroll between like, come on. Or West Ham's always at the end, and then it'd be Tony Cotty, 87th minute or something. Like, go on, TC, get in. And I can remember it so vividly. Like I mean, I was a man. Was obviously had all the kits and stuff when I was growing up, but that was my. I can remember it so vividly, and I do that every week, every game, and I could know we score, and it was great. So living that close, obviously, was amazing. We now Granddad went to the 80 FA Cup. Got photos holding the FA Cup trophy and stuff like that, which is amazing. My nan was like, she worked at the Hammers pub and stuff like that as a tea lady. I met a few of the players when she was that time. So always affiliated with the club in regards to that. There's always a massive. I was only going to be West Ham, born in Newham General. So yeah, that's where I was at, and that was my earliest memory as being a fan at a young age. Yeah. And a lot of schoolmates when you get a bit older are Man United or thingy. But I was so honestly, I'm a 90s kid, and that 90s teams growing up, I loved them players. Honestly, I was worst teams, but I loved the players. Yeah. No one can tell me ever Stan Lazaridis ain't the best left winger to grace the Premier League ever. Honestly, like I thought we had Ryan Giggs. I couldn't believe that because I was left-footed and watching play. He's the best left winger in the world. Like I couldn't believe it. And I was just fascinated by him, Steve Potts, Tim Breaker, John Moncur, Ian Bishop. That era was like awful, but so good. I think we didn't expect West Ham to win anything. So it was just being a fan, loving West Ham. That's where I was at.
It's true. I think people. I remember talking to someone once, and they said, because same with me. People go, your favourite players. They are Bish. They are Potsy. They are that sort of era. I mean, Peter Butler is I still and even when Butts texts me, it's still like I got starstruck talking to Pete Butler.
Butler, what a player.
He was the first person, because they used to do the junior. You used to be able to get a birthday party at the club, like in the school next to it, and they'd get a player come in, and it was Pete Butler. He was the first player I ever met, and he'd played the day before. I'd gone to the game the day before, and it was like, oh my god, it's like it was the best thing. But I think what people say is it's the same as music. The music you love the most is when you're sort of in your formative early teenage years, and that's the same with the players, man. Definitely.
Yeah, totally. And that's obviously that was my earliest memories of supporting. And obviously, Julian Dix was my eldest growing up. So being a left footer, when I was growing up, left footed, for some reason there was hardly any left footers around. And even when I played Sunday League, and then got scouted by West Ham and all these clubs, like one of the things was I was naturally left footed and I could kick it far. And seeing Julian Dix play, honest, like it's hard to put into words. Like people. Genuinely, again, I just couldn't believe this man. I was going into school and thinking, he's the best left back in the world. Like, in the world. There was no one. He's hard as nails. He can strike the ball so well. He scored goals. And I was just like, and it's just things like that. And it's just, there was obviously Ludo. There was so many players. And that was my earliest memories as a fan growing up in the area. Sporting West Ham.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I remember when we had Julian first on, because he scored the first ever West Ham goal I saw. And it was, you were a glory hunter. You started playing when we got in the Premier League, basically. That's when you started turning up. But I was in the hard yards. I was in Division 1. We got promoted, albeit it was the promotion season. And he scored. I went, Julian, you scored the first ever goal I saw at Oxford United. He went, I actually scored 2 that day, Russ. I know you scored 2, but you scored technically, the first goal was actually a typical West Ham goal. It was Oxford United scored after 30 seconds of the kickoff. And then my granddad, and it's still clear as day, turns to me and went, "You got a whole lifetime of this ahead of you." And I didn't believe him. And I did not believe him. 40 years on, I fucking tells the truth, man. But no. Wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change it, mate. Wouldn't change for the world. Now, obviously, as you said, you Sunday League, got scouted, and obviously then set up, then worked your way into got into the West Ham youth team. Several years at the West Ham youth team. As a West Ham fan, playing in the academy. Obviously playing reserve team football as well. You must have been thinking, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was 10 when I first went there, and most London clubs wanted to sign me because I was in a very good Sunday League team, Ridgeway Rovers. We won everything. I was playing for my district, my county, and I was one of the better players. I was playing left midfield at the time, scoring loads of goals. And all these West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, Millwall, all the London clubs. And I went to Millwall through, what can I say? Just I was an experience. I was never fucking going to South London. No chance that would happen in any way. And I remember Theo Pafitas trying to smooth my old man, and I'm thinking, you ain't got a clue. He's wearing West Ham in the 70s and 80s, doing naughty stuff and all that stuff. And there was no way I'm going there. But I went to it, and he offered us furniture and all this. It was stupid, and it was mad. And then obviously went West Ham, went one training session, and I signed that night. There was no way I was going to go. Signing was unbelievable. And even at 10, I thought, you get given the kit, and then you go training on the foot. And I couldn't believe it. Everything was neat. I'd always keep everything ready, and I couldn't wait to put it on. And then all that sort of process where going to training was just like, it was unbelievable. And growing, I say 12, 13, 14, and start to kick on and realise, hold on, after about a year, they put me to left back, and then I played centre back because I weren't the quickest. So they've realised that quite early. I used to like playing left back because I get forward, and like Julian Dix, I wanted to be like him. I used to do stuff like him because I read his autobiography. I never read any books before, and the only one I read was it's go in the gym and kick the ball against the wall as hard as you can, and I'll do all that stuff and try and copy it in the gym, and then get told to piss off out. You're like a child, like this first team are coming. I loved all that, and then I got to that 13, 14, and just was doing was hold on, I got something here, and they realised centre back that was probably my best position. So and then got to like 15, and I started playing for reserves at 15, and every year I just couldn't. I took everything to heart. So we play all the academy teams, whatever, and when we played Tottenham, I was in the change room at 14, giving it to everyone like, we ain't losing. There's no way. It's not happening. Going to Spurs Lodge, we ain't losing today. And I've got reports of games and Blewitt. I was quite tall for my age, and I remember playing Tottenham one time. And one of the reports said he's 15 or 16 here. I think we need to check for his passport or something stupid like that. But I scored a penalty against them. I was running around like it was the FA Cup final. It was I meant so much, and just, I think that was one of the things as I got older actually affected me really because I couldn't replace. I find it hard to stop being a fan and a player.
Yeah.
I really, which is as I got old, as I got to my sort of age now, I found that a bit silly. But it took me years to get to realise that difference. Everything I took to art. Like we was not fucking losing to Millwall, Tottenham. We ain't it ain't happening. And I played that way as well. I played aggressively anyway. And I just going for the youth team and doing really well. And I started training with the first team at 16 as well, my first time. And that was a moment I just couldn't believe it because you get your YTS then, and you're there for 2 years as a YTS, and getting that anyway was a massive thing because then you're getting, I think it was £80 a week or £70 a week, and then you start seeing the first team then, and then the training over Chadwell League because we'd be at Little Heath and then we'd go Chadwell League, and it was all like a big. I was sort of drifting through it without realising I'm actually quite good here, but I'm just fucking taking it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, one of the biggest memories I always have, I was about 14 or 15. I think it was 99, so I must have been 14 because when West Ham had a really good season, I think we had Neil Ruddock in, I think we ended up 4th or 5th. And Neil Ruddock getting a massage in one of the rooms. I didn't know. I'm walking around trying to sneak into the first team changing room because I'm like, I've got to get Scott. I think my mates asked me to nick something. So I'm walking around the training ground and I've got into the first team bit and I've opened this door and there's Neil Ruddock, stark naked, getting a massage of John Green, yeah? And I've just looked at him and he just got his cock in his hand and gone, Willie Watcher! And I've run out and gone, ah! And I've just sprinted out as fast as I could, like, ah! And I'm running out. Which is weird because about, I don't know how many years ago, he was on I'm Celebrity Get Me Out of Here. And I'm sitting watching our missus and her family, and I'm sitting there and going, and they didn't know much about football. And they're going, oh, let Neil Ruddock play football. I said, yeah. I said, guess what? So what? I said, I've seen his cock. So I know it's a bit of a random story, but
love it.
Honestly,
That was that period, mate. That was that period, though. That was that period, wasn't it?
Great period, great set of. Like I felt really, as a fan, you felt even as a player, a youth team player, felt connected as a fan with the players. Then it's a lot different nowadays, but you did feel more connected with players then. And it was just like, I mean, I was really connected with him then. Fucking hell, he had that.
Well, it's too connected, Sarah, as I may say.
But yeah, just that, and then obviously I think that was the same year, or that might be 2000. I can't remember what it was, but that was the year they won the Youth Cup as well, obviously. And then I spoke about Noots and Izzy, and I really looked up to them because I thought I want to do that. That's the next step. Like when I get to their age, I want to do that. And I remember going to watch them, and I remember Adam Newton had an unbelievable game in that final, and everyone thought he was going to be one, but obviously everyone was talking about Joe Cole as well. And just see that, you think, oh. I remember it was people on the pitch. It was so many people at the game. I remember that, and I just thought I want that. When I get to their age, I'm only 3 or 4 years away from that, 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. I want to get there. That's my next thing, and I was just obsessed with it, mate. I was just wrapped up in a team that I supported. I loved it, and as I say, I went through the youth team, and I was doing well. And I was just one of the standout players. I was one of the best defenders in the country at the time. Everyone's word of mouth was getting around about myself because I was just playing. I was England schoolboys and stuff like that, and it just bits and pieces like that. So yeah, and up until like 16, then obviously got my pro at 18. But the youth team times were great, mate. Honestly, I absolutely loved it. We had some great time. Went to the Milk Cup in Ireland. We won that out there. Played against Rooney, against Everton in the final. We beat them, and then 18 months later, he's scoring that goal. And I thought, he's fucking useless. Only let him out for today. And it's like that happened, and just things like memories I still remember today. You know? and went to Japan. I mean, never left the country as a kid. I think we did go abroad, and the only time I got to go abroad was I say Ireland. I'm talking about Ireland. It's abroad, but going to Japan as well, and
Wow.
tours like that in the youth team, and playing these big stadiums and stuff. Oh, it's just so many good memories, of that youth team time, and we had a decent team as well. So it was good, mate. It was good. I mean, and I was a mischievous little git, so I enjoyed my time there. Yeah.
You fitted straight in with that period, to be honest, Az. I mean, it might be funny, as you said. We've had that Razor on, we've had Sinks on, we've had a lot of that era on, and in fact, when we had Neil on, I made the critical error of the dishwasher man turned up, so I had to let him in, and I left it rolling. And Neil Ruddock's quite scary when just when you're talking one on one. Leave him to his own devices, and it's like, and I was going to cut it out, and I watched it back, and I was like, I can't cut this out. It's like Neil doing ventriloquism. He's got the dog out. He's like he goes away and he. Exactly, and it was like brilliant. It was always showing me all these pictures he had, but you're right. We've spoken at length. I said we've interviewed lots of ex-players, and there seems to be some sort of cut-off point where, unfortunately, you don't get that connection was lost. Not just West Ham, but I think in general. And I would say probably that Colton Cole, Jimmy Walker, that Colton Cole, about 2012. Then onwards, I think the money just went so high that footballers, I used to live in Loughton, and I used to see, I used to work at Safeways on a Friday, and Shaka would do his big shop on a Saturday, if they were working. But you'd see him, his head would be on top, and I don't expect to go down to Sainsbury's in Hornchurch and see.
Cool.
Lucas Paqueta picking up a 6-pack of water or something like that. It doesn't happen anymore now, does it?
Oh,
and that's a shame.
Totally get it. Yeah, they're all doing online shopping, aren't they, and stuff like that.
It's all Ocado nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, so I get it, mate. I get it. It's it's different time, but yeah, it was just. I say, I believe I was born in the wrong era, to be honest with you, and I think even as a person, but also as a player, I genuinely believe I was 10 years earlier. My playing style would have reflected more then. But as I say, them sort of years he was talking about, the years I've managed to get from youth team to pro. When I was 18, I got my first pro. So this would have been 2004, 2003, and then obviously that 2 or 3 year period was crazy. I mean, we went to the playoffs twice, lost one, won one, FA Cup. But the squad was like, I was on the verge. I was in and out of it. I was always training every day with them. But that squad was so tight knit, and it was young as well. So I say, Jimmy was one of the oldest ones at 30, and then we had obviously he brought the Wimbledon lads in Real Coco, who become captain, and Joby and Adam Noland, and then you got everyone else who was there, Teddy. But then Teddy came. But then you had Bobby Zamora, you had Anton Elliott, you had so many others, Matty Everton. Just so many, and it was such a good group, and to be round that was class, because obviously we had the nights out, we had the training. It was just the nights out with Carney. It was great. And obviously I had the fans. I wasn't as much of my mates are all massive West Ham fans anyway, so they'd come a nights out, or if there was a bit of bother, they'd go and slap someone for them or something stupid like that. Or ever it was just that. It was a good group to be around as well, and I was never an established first team player, of course, but I was a first team squad member. I was always training with them. I went away with them. I travelled enough. They knew me well enough, and it was just a good group to be around. Of course, obviously Mark coming through as well, so it was a really good group, mate. It was a fucking great group to be around, and good, and you could relate to them. So that was probably the last era, I'd say, and then it sort of drifted out, as you said. But mate, I just had so many good times in that youth team, I had to remember a couple of things when they're coming on. So, what I was talking a bit mischievous. I want to try and tell these stories because I forget sometimes. One of the things I've done was, my mum used to work in a school in Sam, and I was 15, I think, 14, 15. And obviously, it don't matter now, I'll tell it. So I would go to her work where she worked, and she'd park in a car park. And I'd have a spare key, and I'd nick the car at the car park, and I'd drive to training. Yeah, so I'd be 15, and we're training Little Heath. So, I mean, expressive for it now, don't matter. So I would drive to the training ground and opposite the training ground, and I'd sneak in with my mate. I pick my mate up, sneak in to training, do our training. We'd have to wait for everyone to go back from Little Heath to Chadwell Heath. And we'd have to sneak over the road, get the car, drive back. So I'm driving back one time, and I'm driving from Little Heath to Chadwell Heath to go down the A12 and then do a right over it there. So I'm driving down the A12. Get to the lights, I'm thinking, well, I'm underage for one. I mean, I'm laughing because the story happened, but it's quite serious. But I'm driving 15. I'm in my mum's car. She has no idea. And I've got to the light, and I've pulled up, and I'm trying to be old and all that. I'm standing at this light, and I look to my right, and Tony Carr is sitting in his fucking motor next to me. Yeah, and he turned to me, and he's looked away, and I've gone, oh shit. So I'm just staring forward, and he's had another look, and he's gone. And he's pointing at me again, and I was gone, and it just took off. Drove to Chadwell Heath, obviously before we do our second session, and I parked down the long road that led up to the training ground. So we've parked up there, got there, and just hid underneath the car and waited till all these cars went in. Got into the training ground anyway, and obviously he pulled me in and I got done in trouble. But this is the sort of stuff I was doing it. It's stupid, but it was like. Every day there'd be something stupid happen, and I would probably be a part of most of that anyway. And it was to my I was affected by it at the end because I'd done a lot of stupid stuff and probably took it too far. And I was always trying to make people laugh, and I did stupid stuff like that. But it was a funny story at the time because I just never forget Tony's face. And I see him at the game a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him if he remembered it. He said he did, but I don't think he did. But it was like. The head of this man's very well respected, and I've just pulled up in a motor at 15 years old. He knows I'm 15, and obviously the head of education got involved and stuff like that. But it was so many I'll look back and laugh at it now. It was so many good times like that. Maybe it was the era as well. Maybe I don't know, but yeah.
I think it was partly. I mean, I think listen. Obviously, you've been on X and Dave show a few times. I've listened to that, and it does seem that and you said it yourself. It's almost like you were a fan first, and it took a while to get that fan because it must be. I mean, it's the same. I mean, we'll turn up to the Mark testimonial stuff because that was like the pinnacle for me what we could have done. But it's like you see like how I think you'd react the same that I would react if I was playing for West Ham. If, like you said, you're almost like you're not taking it in. You're just so like in the moment and like things like that. And as you said, maybe that's why you wanted to make people laugh all the time because it was almost like that's your role. You're the comedian.
I was going to as a youngster. I was obviously my dad drank a lot, and the environment was pubs and stuff. So on a Friday, I wouldn't drink, but I'd be down to pubs around all these West Ham fans. Yeah, so dad's made a lot of older people. I always knocked around with older people. So they were like, he's got to get on its day. Blah blah blah. If someone didn't play well, they'd be like, you fucking go and tell him, sort it out. And I'm 16. What do you want me to do? Like, but what I would do is it'd be in my head, and I'd be like, right, in training, when I get my chance, I'm going to nail him. And I remember Ian Pearce, we trained, and he had a bad game one game. And my mates were like, it's like, he's shit, like, all this stuff, like fans do, talk rubbish and that. But I would go and train. I remember training, and I mean, Kevin Orlock and people that can back this up because they were there. He's running through 1-on-1. I'm 16, 17 maybe. And I absolutely nailed him. Just nailed him from behind because I think they're in my head. Nailed him bad. Yeah. He's got up and want to kill me. So I'm a youth team player still, and he's threw a punch because I've just threw a punch, and then I'm trying to scrap on the pitch. And I'm like, I don't know why I've done that. And Kevin Orlock going, he strangled me first. So I just threw a punch at him. And I was just like, why'd you do that? I don't know. I don't know what happened. And then I thought, them pricks told me to nail him. I think it's in my head. And it's because it's absolutely ridiculous what I'm saying. I understand that. But when I look back, because I think I was a fan stuff, so I think I agreed with them. Even though I was a player as such, and I was only a young player, that side was always overtook by that side. And I've got a lot of disciplinary record. My disciplinary record wasn't good getting through that youth team. It got better. And I think that was my game after burst. I played aggressive, and if I didn't, I wouldn't have been half the player I think I was anyway. Even though I didn't get to 22, I was a decent player. But I think that was part of my game. I was a defender anyway, and I think the area I come from, and I think the environment where I lived, and the people I was associating with at the time, was all. It was all. There was no like. It was no. I don't know what the word is, and it wasn't. It wasn't not soft, but it wasn't. It
It doesn't
wasn't.
sound like no respite. It sounds like you had no respite. Do you know what I mean? From
Yeah. It was always. It was always this. So it was. I was around it all the time. I was always wrapped up with whether I was on a Friday going down the. I mean, I shouldn't have probably been doing it. But I'd go down there to meet him, to be with the bloke, because I love that environment. Play a bit of pool and go home and stuff like that. I probably shouldn't have double pie mash on the way home at Nathan's, but that's another story, you know. But but just I think because I was so wrapped up in it, Russ, just being around from the area, and I think, just caught up in both too well.
and I think that's why West Ham fans have such an affiliation with academy players who come through, because, like he said, you started when you was 10, obviously.
Yeah.
We know about Mark. You know, we've got Ben Johnson now, who's obviously in contract negotiations, and, you know, some people want him to stay. You know, obviously we've got at the moment Flynn Downs, West Ham boy, you know, probably might get a chance at pre-season, might not. George Earthy scoring that goal in the last, you know, that. So there's always an association with West Ham and the academy, and I think you sort of had that crossover yourself. It's almost like that being a West Ham fan was almost on your coattail all the time when you got. He said even at 14, you didn't want to lose against Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? It's just like that mentality. You can't lose to Tottenham, can't lose to Millwall. And as you said, that might have bled through into the disciplinary, because you know your idol was Julian Dix. I'm not being funny. Yes, that was Julian's game, wasn't it?
I think it was Steve Potts, shouldn't I? Just a bit more.
You should have been Potsy. You should have been more Potsy.
I love growing up. I mean, I just couldn't believe so small was so good. I just couldn't believe when I used to watch him 93, 94 and all that. I just couldn't believe how good he was. So composed. No one ever beat him. I don't know. He played centre back. He played right back, but he played. I just thought, how is he so good? You know? But I agree with you, mate. I agree with you totally. I think that.
Yeah, if Potsy was 6 inches taller, he'd be an England player. I've always said that to him. We and him in this. We're both quite short. Yeah, it was. I think I gave him the scare of his life last summer, because I ended up bumping into him. We ended up staying at the same hotel on holiday. It's like, Steve, oh, fuck off, Russ. Well, are we having that interview yet? I still haven't got him on. I've been chatting to his wife. We had a beer. We sat there on the sun loungers in Doobs, but we never had that interview. But anyway, I technically work for him now, the under-21s.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You got to pull him, Russ. Pull him, mate.
I will. I'm just gonna walk into that little portal cabin manager's office and set up the camera, lock the door. Right, Steve, let's get it done.
I'll hand back to the club a bit more often. I'll just pull him, mate. Don't worry about it.
I'll get him eventually. He's just proving hard to get. So as you said, you know, YTS. Who did you clean whose boots did you clean?
Oh, so I done 1 year. It was Steve Lomas, yeah. But it was the last. I think the year before was the last proper year. But I still done boots. I've done Steve Lomas. But it was very relaxed. It wasn't like the old school thing, which I was a bit gutted about, to be honest with you. I like them stories and stuff, but we'd do that. We'd have to do all the equipment. We'd have to tidy up the change rooms and do all that stuff. So it was still quite. It wasn't the before era where you done everything. It was I done the boots, but then the kit man ended up doing all that after a while, so I didn't do it for long. So, but big gutted. I missed out on that properly, to be honest with you. I think that's something that was.
It's like a rite of passage, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Isn't it?
I believe so. Now, but again, there's so much people have wins that'd be like some of the things that would happen. I mean, when again, a youth team player, the first team were in there, and it was I think Ian Pearce was in there, Lomas, Hutchinson, and we had the physio room was at the back by the canteen, and they had the big ice bucket, yeah, and they were saying. This is what I'm saying. This is where the time was. You had to put your head in there, underwater. Who can do it for a minute? So I'm like, I'll do that. No fucking problem. Like, come here, yeah? I'll put like 50 quid or something to do it. So I've just done it. Like, I've done it. So I want to be part of it as well. You know what I mean? I want to be part of this, you know? And I just chucked it in there. I don't know how long it was for, but I come up and my head was blue, yeah? And John Green, and I can't believe the other physio was there, come running in, was like, what the fuck? My head was blue. They're chucking towels on me, trying to get warmth back to air, and they're just wrapping it up. And I'm going, oh, I can't. I'm all
It's
over
funny.
the struggle. Horrible, yeah. But I just wanted to be part of it. But that was, I thought that was part. I thought that's what you had to do. I just thought, let's do it like this. To be in this part, I wanted to feel part of something as well. To be honest with you, so I wanted that, and that was the sort of things he's doing, stuff like that. So I just thought, but I love them stories of just mad things happening. Like, just you don't get it as much no more. I know, I understand why, because of social media. You can't do nothing now. They're all worried.
Oh Christ, no! I mean, some of the stories I'd be those of your nights out and stuff, and fucking, it's mental. There was one. Oh, who was it? Who told me it? I can't remember. Well, it was about Ludo, and Ludo just signed for the club, and there was a Christmas night out, and they were trying to explain to him fancy dress, and he was like, "Don't know." And so it might have been, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, it's probably like Brett Tim or someone like. Anyway, so they had to go to the fancy dress shop down Chedwell Heath, and all that was left was a sailor's outfit in size medium. And obviously Ludo is 6'4", but he went, "I need to go and tell my wife that I'm not going to be coming." It might be Machiavelli, might have told me, I don't know, or someone. So then they turn up in the limo at Ludo's house. Ludo walks out as a sailor boy in a size medium, trying to explain to his wife that they're going on a night out, and it's like stuff like that. He just,
I mean, I don't
Neil
know the myth about Ludo's. He's got the biggest bollocks in football. Like, they're massive. They are huge, yeah. So they would have looked very tight.
they've just flopped out. Looked like two conkers, wouldn't they? Bless
Yeah.
him. Lovely man, Ludo.
What's a goalkeeper? I love Ludo.
Oh,
But yeah. I mean, yeah. It's to say, like, the nights out we used to that era when after the youth team going to the first team, we had some good lads on nights out. We had like James Collins as well, Gabby Don, and we had some good nights out, and I was in around that. So you probably would it'd be in the paper next day, stuff like crazy.
It would be, yeah. I mean, if the walls of 195 could talk,
I know, ridiculous. I was hanging on a coattail of Teddy Sheringham for about the first 6 months, waiting for his knockdowns. I felt like, I felt like
wait for his knockdowns.
Did you have a great relationship? Was it Shearer in the Euro '96? I felt like Alan Shearer with him. SNL. Oh, was it? Yeah, was it him? I feel like him Euro '96 going like that. Just because the women he'd knock around with were my age. They were 18, 19. And he was 40 at the time, obviously. They weren't doing nothing, but they just wanted to be around him. And he looked so he looked well, and he was always good. And everyone was surrounding him, or us anyway. Not us, not me, because no one knew who I fucking was. But around that table or the corner there. And like, I was just like, they're my age. So Ted, like, what one can I speak to? And then, thanks, Ted. Cheers. And then, but it's funny because he come and he joined us as the youth team in pre-season to start, and obviously I was like, fucking Teddy Sheringham, this is unbelievable. Like, I can't believe he signed for West Ham. Like, brilliant. And he's 39, 40, and he was getting fit with us. But I thought, I got on really well with him. We weren't best mates though, but we ended up going golf a little bit, and he talked to us like me, Nobes, and Chrissy Cohen, and we like, he was just such a good bloke, and then he'd help you out, and then I remember sitting down in the canteen, we were having dinner, and then I see his fucking paycheck. I thought, can we swap for 1 month, because this is outrageous, mate. Can we just, like, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe the zero. I was just like, wow. And I think he got hammered that year or the year after. It was unbelievable for us. He was so good. Class.
I think he was the last player before Jared Bowen to have hit 20 goals in a season. I think. Him and Marlon both hit it that year, 04, I think, yeah.
Yeah, is that in the Championship then, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the Championship, yeah, not in the Premier League, so yeah. But yeah, no, incredible player. Now, obviously, you said, YTS, then you get your pro deal.
Yes, amazing.
18, now I'm now a pro, I've got pro, YTS is done, now I'm a pro.
Yeah.
Again, you must be feeling like it's almost every step, it's getting bigger and bigger for you, really, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was. I'd obviously been playing up in the reserves very young. I was training with the first team very young, coming through with Mark, and then I got to 18, which is weird. And then I got me pro, and I think Mark was a year below, so he wasn't a pro because you had to be 18 to officially sign a pro, but he had it. So we was on that sort of journey together after a little bit, and then I just sign it was unbelievable. Like it weren't like the only thing I've looked back on. I didn't think because I think you used to sign them on a pitch or something and stuff like. I think it's nothing like that. But to sign it and then it's on the website and it was all whatever the website was like then, and it was on like teletext. I've ever seen it on teletext. I just signed on Skype. Like the first mobile I had, and I was trying to take a photo of it, and it was just amazing. Like, but to be there, it was. I was very emotional when I signed it when it happened. To be fair, I was just like, I can't believe it. Like, and then your squad number, like you're actually a squad member. Like whether or not, I always thought I'd play for West Ham forever. Like as a kid and growing up, but to have a squad number and then your name to the back of the program, because you go to every game, every home game, because you get cut the tickets free when you play. You used to play youth team, and then if you didn't, you still get cut the tickets every game. So I'd go to every game anyway, even if I wasn't in the squad. Sometimes I'd be on a bench or in a squad and like the 18th man or something. But when I wasn't, me and my mate would go with my mate or something. And I'd buy the program just because I was on it.
Yeah.
And, and it was just like, and then you have reports in the back and you're always in it and playing for the reserves, or I'd play for the 19s because it was 17s, 19s reserves then. I'd play for the 19s one week and then I'd play on a Saturday and then I'd play for reserves on a Tuesday or something. Just buying. I've got honestly, my dad kept it all, to be fair, and our relationship ain't as good as it used to be. But there's one thing he's done is kept all that stuff, and it's. I looking back at it the other day, and it's nice. I've got so much good memories of just having your name on a program. Obviously, the biggest thing for me was the FA Cup final program. My name's on the back. No one can take that away from me. I didn't do nothing. Didn't contribute towards that at all. But I was in it. I was a squad member. Amazing. Like I'm a fan. Like don't forget, I'm just a fan. Like, and that's the thing that I will take forever. But just signing the pro, it was just it was that. But then I just thought I'm gonna be a first team player in there. I looked what was ahead of me, I looked what was behind me, and I thought I'm as good as him. I've played with them. I've never embarrassed myself. There's times where I've been slapped about, like Jason Roberts I talked about. All happens to everyone. I'm gonna get in this team now. I'm gonna get in this squad. And I'm gonna get in this team, and I genuinely felt that. I was so determined to do it. Because first of all, it's emotion and just can't believe it. Then it's like, I'm going to play for West Ham. I am going to play, and that's it. And when I do, my family, everyone's going to love me, and I'm going to be great, and it's going to be forever. Obviously, it didn't end like that, but for the first year, it went really. The first 6 months from 18 to think went really well. Really well, and I was training first every day, and I was in and around it. I was on the bench, and then I was. And squads travelling a lot to games, making the 17th, 18th man because there was only 5 subs then, not like 28 subs or whatever you have now. So it was like that, and then I got to be on the bench for the first team, and I was like, I'm going to play. Like, I'm coming up. I think I should be playing anyway. That was my mindset because in front of me, as I said, we had people like Malky Mackay, Christian Daly, who I'll probably put him aside. So Malky Mackay, Andy Melville, and I thought they're at the end of their career. I've played with these quite a lot now. I believe I'm as good as these. I just need the experience. I'm gonna get my chance. And then obviously I got into the bench for that game for the Southend in the Carling Cup, and I thought, fuck, I'm gonna come on there. Like I can't wait. And obviously I think Mark come on. Mark was on the bench. Teddy was on the bench that day as well, I think. And I was on the bench, and I thought, right, that's it. And then I got told to warm up, and I've told you the story before. Went up, and I'm like. Looking around thinking, this is the moment where my career starts. Like, that is it now. Once I come on this pitch, it wasn't full because it was like 22,000, whatever. It felt like it was full. I'm giving the old warm-up, clapping, pretending I know what I'm doing. Like, freaking, all right, yeah, lovely. But I'm looking for my mates or my family. I'm seeing people dotted around, thinking, come on, what's happening? And then, so I've jogged back, and Pardew was the manager at the time. Obviously, he gave me a contract and then obviously released me at the end. But you'd be all taped up, or you socks up, everything on, just have a jacket, weak jacket, I'll put your pads in on the pitch. So I've took my jacket off, gone to his thing, he said, where's your shin pads? And I said, I'll put them on now. And he went, sit the fuck down. So I've sat down and I've gone, huh, the fuck? All right. So I put my pads in, still thinking he's just telling me to put. No, and then nothing happened, and I didn't come on. And I am raging at this point, and I'm thinking, I've been embarrassed first, and I thought, what's going on? Am I coming on? Like, what's that? When am I coming on? And didn't come on. And then after the game, he's walked down a tunnel. And I remember he said, because it was just before, I didn't get a change with him. He said to me, when I tell you to be ready, I fucking mean be ready. And I said, who the fuck you talking to? And I pushed him in the changing room. Or he went to change room, and I took my boots off, and I've launched them at him. And the kit man, I think Pete Williams was there at the time, people like that, and they're pulling me out off, and I lost it. And I said, you fucking embarrassed me. And I really, really, over the top, shouldn't have done it. But so the fan and street boy in me come out, and it was the professional football didn't come out. It was the other side. I completely lost it. There was no composure. There was no, all right, he's going to teach me a lesson. And so I didn't think about that. It just took the piss out of me. What are you doing? Completely lost it. And that didn't go down too well, obviously. And then I had a meeting, and he fucked me off on loan, which was a good thing. So I went to spend on loan. But it was. Yeah, it was a weird 24 hours, and that sort of did it dictate my time the rest of the time. Then maybe I never got an opportunity.
It seemed to be the catalyst. As you, because you would, even the way you've been talking, it's like
yeah. And I've never. Funny enough, I'm glad you said that, because I always forget to mention this. Whenever I've been from the age of 10, I've always been in successful teams. Always. Yeah. So my Sunday team won everything. My school team, we won every year at school. We got kicked out last year, but every year in school, we won everything. We won the national cup, Barking Abbey. We won everything. We was on telly from a young age. We won 3-1 in the national final, best school in the country. And then I went to West Ham, and we was winning. We didn't win every week, but I was playing well, so it was always win, do well, win. I never really experienced. Obviously, we lost games and stuff and had bad performances, but I never really experienced a time where it went on quick and then just didn't recover. There was little bumps, but it never really went again.
Yeah.
But down and it fucked me up, to be honest with you. And then, I went up, not at the time really, because I went on loan to Southend, and although I think I played one game or come on one time, I was in the bench quite a lot. And again, they got promoted from League 2 to League 1, so it was a successful time there, and I loved it there. And it was around really good players, good team, good manager. And it's my first proper experience of what 3 points meant, really. It wasn't really. I didn't feel that. I didn't participate enough to feel like I warranted that thingy. So it was a sort of season that petered out in the end. The rest of that season was great. Loved it. Brilliant time. What I'm going to do now? What's the next thing? And then I got to 19, and then the new season starts, and I'm completely fucked off, basically. And we never spoke really again, me and Pardew. In 2 more years, really, 18 months more.
It did seem that that being a trigger point, isn't it? Really, and then it came a situation where, as you said, out on loan, and then you get the news. 22, was it 22? You got released by the club, and there, as you said, you've been around West Ham for the last 12 years. In amongst, you've been a kid's supporter since you were young, doing teletext when you're 6 or 7. Now at 22, it's like, to be honest, if I was in that situation, my life I feel like it's crumbled, completely gone. Your purpose is gone. That's, and it must be for a 22-year-old lad who, as you said, he's got that sort of desire to just be a West Ham player.
Yeah.
To have that taken away from him, it's no surprise it fucked up.
Yeah.
No surprise at all.
Yeah, I say I went on loan after that to Hereford for another good season in regards to getting promoted, and then the next season again was just I got the season after that was my last year. Was probably I felt worse that during that season than I did when I got released, because it completely fucked me off, and just literally I'm 21 by this point, and he'd make me train with the 17, 18-year-olds or tell me to go, and I just wouldn't do it. I'd go fucking home. I'd just go home. And I think I'm a first team squad member here. What am I doing with 17? What's going on here? The under 18s or whatever it was, because I think it changed when I was there. I'm thinking, no, I'm not doing it. Fuck this. And then I'd go home, and then I'd get told what you're doing, and the next day I won't go training. It was a complete mess, yeah. And obviously, I was drinking a bit at the time as well. More that last year, going out a bit more, and just thought, he's a prick. Like a lot of my, I was told this before, and people think it's a joke. A lot of my mates, obviously, big West Ham fans. Some of them are. So the environment I was brought up in, I've talked about this before. You're either a boxer, a footballer, or a criminal. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were doing different routes. They were doing whatever they were doing, and they were like, "Should we wrap this geezer up? What do you want me to go and sort this out?" And I'm like, "It doesn't work like that. It's just like a football club. It's not like." And it was just like it was so. But I was having times I was thinking, "Yes, go and do this," and it was so mental. Like my head was so messed up. The last year, I mean, it never happened. I don't mean to say anything here, but my friends were like, "Should we just kidnap him or do something to him?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like, and obviously, I wasn't going to get to there, but it was like, I'm blaming him. And look, it wasn't his fault. I've come to terms with the fact that he made his decision. I didn't like it. We fell out and he never spoke again. Why would he waste his time and energy with me when he's got a team and a successful one, this, that, the other, and things happening? There's ways of doing it, and I believe that's what it was. Would I speak to him if I see him again? Maybe, but I don't think it'd go down very well still to this day. And I've had to deal with that and work on that. But that is what it is. That's another thing. But I just that year I was just completely out, and I was thinking, what am I doing? And no one from the club really spoke to me. So this is where I fell out of the club really, because I was just like, even though I wasn't playing for the first team, I was around the first team a lot. I was the longest serving person at the club, which is weird to say. I'd been there for that long. Because a new set of players had come in, I'd been there for the longest. I felt like it was my club. So I'm like, well, what's going on? Someone going to tell me what's happening? And they weren't. So I just did not know where I stood, and I just couldn't. I couldn't work out what I was doing.
I think again, it's not have it. I was working with the club that time as well, and and I've told Alan this before. He was. I don't think I've ever seen anyone who was so. What's the word?
Oh,
I mean, you called him chocolate, didn't you? I mean, that was it. But he was so everything. I mean, literally to the level where I'd come in and he'd collar me and say in that little shitty manager's office, ridiculous one. And he'd sit down.
I mean, it's not much bigger now.
No, exactly. No, it's a good point. Yeah, he'd sit down and go, "So, Russ, what music are we playing today?" And I was like, "Well, I like some rock music." He went, "Can you play a bit of Sinatra?" Well, that's not going to get the fans going. I remember one story. He came back from Florida. And he had an idea in SeaWorld. Apparently, they do this thing with Shamu and the whale, and they basically ask the audience. The camera zooms in on a person. They ask them a question, and it's either 1, 2, or 3. They have to put their fingers up. Right, and I went, "Yeah, okay, Alan. So we're going to zoom in. Zoom in. A guy he's been down the bowling. Ask him a question. Put up 1 finger, 2 fingers, or 3 fingers. You know exactly what he's going to do."
Yeah.
But he just wanted he controlled everything. Wanted to literally control everything. So
I think he was quite a young manager as well, and I think
very young. Yeah.
Learning on the job. I think he was learning as well. But one thing I want to say as well, like he was a good coach, like a very good coach, very good getting people on side if he was on his side. And the club done unbelievable underneath him. So in regards to that, I get it. But like I always go back to like when I was 16 or something, and I was when Roder took over, and I know it wasn't a successful time for the club, they got relegated and stuff. But as a youngster coming through, he loved me, and I thought if he stays, which he did, was never going to stay. And unfortunately, he got ill. But there he got ill, and I was training first to them because of him. He trusted me. I remember him. I got sent off in one game as a youth team player, but he really wanted me to do what he was on to me, and he grabbed me up the wall. I'll never forget this ever. And he grabbed me up the wall and he said, "You've got to sort it out now. You've got a chance here. I'm telling you as the manager, you've got a chance here. Sort your discipline out, and you've got a chance, okay?" And I thought, fucking hell. And then he did. He kept me back involved the first team young, and I thought, wow. And then Trevor Brooking obviously come in, got ill. Trevor Brooking come in. I actually fell out of Trevor Brooking, which is my nan never forgive me for. I made him swear, which is something that I believe. I don't
Ooh.
think anyone's ever been able to do. So Sir Trev told me to. Sir Trev told me to fuck off in, because I kicked Trevor Sinclair. It was the week before the last game of the season, and I was excited youngster, and he said no tackles, and I got a bit excited and tackled him, and then 2 minutes later he told me to stop, no tackles, and 2 minutes later I've done the same thing, and he pulled me up on it and told me to F off in, kid. And yeah, so I was just going, yeah, and obviously they were managers, and then Page would come and he done really well. So it was, but I can only talk from my personal experience. Okay, everyone has their own experience. I'm sure if you speak to people like Lomas and people like who were playing reserves and on the fringes as well, they weren't these massive fans for him either. Because you're not one of the favourites. So it is what it is. And
It is what it is. You said. I mean, Moisey had favourites, didn't he? Thomas Soucek is a boy, you know, and every they have their generals, don't they? They have their guys who, you know, when David Moyes needed to get a result, he'd always put Aaron Cresswell in, he'd put Mark in, he'd put Soucek in, and he'd get a result.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you've always, it always happens in every game, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, and I think, that's basically. And then I also got to just for my 22nd birthday, and I was released, and I did not have a clue what to do. Like no clue. And where my head was and life was at the time, was quite a dangerous place. So it was a case of what do I do now? Okay, I fuck off and run away. And that's basically what I done. I went on a mad Greek island drink carnage 6-week mental self-destruction mission. And come back a week for the season thinking I'd get a club, and funny enough, no club for after a 22-year-old nearly who hadn't kicked the ball for first team at any decent level above the conference and is unfit, you know. So it was, and I ended up signing for Billericay Town. So I dropped from a Premier League club, albeit not being a Premier League established player, but a Premier League squad member, to a Ryman Premier, which was about 6 league drop, which was just crazy, you know. And then that's where it really just got spiraled really over year for myself. And yeah, that was the sort of the dream of that was done, was finished. And I knew leaving that ground that I thought I'd never go back there. I thought I'd never, and I went back. I mean, Nam, God bless her, was indoors, and I was crying, and it was just so bad. And yeah, I didn't really know. I don't know. I was just in such a lost place, and it was just, what do you do now? Like, I don't know. I'm 20. I fuck no. So I'll go and sign for this team. It was a couple of $100 a week, and 2 times a week, and there was bloke smoking a fag in the dressing room before training. I'm thinking, what the fuck is happening here? I don't know what's happening here. And after about 3 months, I fucking loved it. But it was the case of like you fall into that non-league mentality, and I never recovered my dream of being a professional footballer. After about 6 months, I realised quickly it was done. I was never ever going to be a pro footballer again, never. And it was
but obviously, you know, anyone who turned up to obviously Nobes' testimonial saw possibly one of the greatest penalties ever taken.
Well,
that and Adrian's.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Russ. Oh, that one. Oh, yeah.
That penalty. Oh, that penalty I scored. Obviously, Mark Nobes' testimony. We spoke about obviously Nobes, obviously several times. Obviously, year below, but you sort of knocked around together, and again, you know, getting the opportunity to do that. Again, with obviously the trouble you had, you know, as you said, going, you know, mentally and stuff like that, going to play from Nobes' testimonial and stuff, being asked by Nobes, playing with Julian, you know, your idol as well. And I mean, it was one of those pinch me moments, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the day was amazing. Like, it was incredible. Yeah. I couldn't. If I could have picked to play at Upton Park, the last season it was there. It was packed. It was just like the environment was all for. There was no like bad environment. It was just a great environment. It was. I mean, all these players playing who I played with in the past and not seen for years, and obviously Mark's day, like. It was just an amazing day. As a day, was incredible. Yeah. But the build up was like, I just kept pestering him. Like, you need to call me and book me in this game because we're going to fall out bad. I'm going to start digging up some dirt on you, boy. All right? I'm going to start telling people how bad you are. He's not. But I understand. Obviously I wouldn't do that anyway, but he's not. He's an unbelievable bloke. But it was... It still is. But it was just like, I was onto him and I didn't hear nothing. And it was only about a week before the game, if that I got confirmation from him. He just texted me and said, fancy 25 minutes tomorrow. And I said, are you having a laugh? I'm waiting for this message. And but at this time, I was working in Fords in Dagenham at the time, in the factory, like, complete fucking wreck at the time. And I was sitting there, I remember I was eating like a ham and cucumber sandwich out of tinfoil on a workbench, dirty as fuck, like just completely thingy. And I'm getting a message from Mark, who was the captain of the town at the time, messaging me, and I'm going, yeah, funny enough, I do, mate. I fancy that, And it was just, it was the build up, and then going there the day to Julian Dix sitting next to me, like his kit was on next to mine. And then Billy Bond, you look around, Billy Bond's Brookie, and there was the Canio, Rio, Ferdinand play, and people that I ain't seen for a while, Jimmy Walker, and just Bobby, and all these people I ain't seen for a long time. And Mark, I ain't seen. We spoke every now and then, but we wasn't best mates. So he's gone his path, I've gone on mine, and just to meet up again. And Upton Park, I hadn't been back to Upton Park for a long time either, like a long time. I struggled going back there and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I just went back there and it was obviously Mark's day, but in my head it was like, I'm in, but this I can draw a line on the things in here.
Like redemption. It was almost like redemption, it seemed.
Yeah, I can do what I thought I was going to do for my whole life, just play on there. And it's going to be packed. It's not like I'm playing it's a testimonial, but it's packed. Like there's 36,000 people here. And then obviously, the weird thing was that the kits are so different nowadays. They're like that. So I'm like, hold on, Mark.
I fucking know it. I don't wear kits anymore now.
So I'm like, Mark, no. He said, what kit? And I said, right, let's not be silly yet. I said, I don't know. I know they come up massive, so I need whatever size on XL. I said, I need a big one. I need a big one. All right, mate. Yeah. He got me a large on purpose because they're basically a large to medium. And I put it on. I thought, I can't go out in this. I can't. Look at me. I look like someone painted me blue because it was a blue kit and like the West Ham badge on it. I can't do it. But obviously, I couldn't believe it. So it was just that, and then obviously the day, and then go through the process, and then I ended up playing about half an hour.
Yeah.
So more than I thought, and then obviously the game went to penalties, and the minute they said penalties, and it was the Bobby Moore in, I said, I'm taking one. Like there was no thought of what if. I said, I'm taking a penalty. Definitely put me down. All right, brilliant. There you go. First, and they're taking them, and then I'm pretty sure I'm right here. Di Canio took his before me. After, and he's come back, and he's just like throwing the ball. I'm like, fuck yeah, and then like just that moment. This was my. I could if I could have just walked back into that kid, standing in that end.
Yeah.
Take a pen away, left-footed, and I thought, this is the one, Dale. This is the I put it down, and I just thought, I'm gonna take a pen away, and there was no thought of missing. This is a mad thing. So since I never thought about, and I thought, right, you can't move. You're a fat bastard now. But I tell you what, you've got a good left foot still. Just get your head down. You know where you're gonna go. That corner, just put it down and smash it. And I looked up, and I thought it was one of the lads playing in goal. I didn't know because there was a few goal kicks, one of Mark's mates and stuff. And it was Adrian in goal. And Adrian at the time was brilliant. And I thought, oh, fuck. And he's giving it the point in the finger of where I'm going to put it. So I thought, well, I ain't changing your mind. Yeah, I'm going in that corner. And if you watch back, he's pointing to the corner. So I'm thinking, which makes the penalty even better because he knew where I was going. He still couldn't fucking So anyway, I've smashed it. I've hit it well. And it's gone top corner. And then it was like, and I don't see a celebration. I'm just giving it Billy Large, and it was just crazy. If I could have celebrated for 24 hours, I would have. Just yeah. And I give Mark a cuddle on the way back, and I was just like, I think this day was for me, which is a bad thing to say because it was just, it was. He didn't know what was going on in my life at the time either.
No.
And the thing was, my missus was pregnant. She was due her first daughter about a month later, so although my life was a bit of a mess, I still had that in the think about. But for me, that moment was the moment I've been waiting all my life, sort of
Yeah.
thing, which is crazy. But it was. That's where my head was at that time. And
To be honest, I mean, we had Dino on
yeah,
a month or so ago, and we
good
spoke about
bloke.
that test. It's the same thing for him.
Yeah,
I mean, that was the first time he'd been back playing since he got
yeah.
in, and he never got to say goodbye. So it was almost
No,
like that was so. Actually, that game meant a lot, not just to Mark, but to yourself, to Dean,
yeah,
to a lot of other players as well, who maybe didn't get the chance to say goodbye properly because
yeah,
they got sold or whatnot. So thinking about it, it was Mark's day, but it was about you. It was about Dean. It was about
yeah,
but yeah, it was, and then obviously the euphoria,
yeah,
obviously Twitter and
yeah.
everyone's talking about Darren again. Darren's back on top.
That's how I felt.
Um, yeah, I could get that totally,
Yeah, I mean
totally.
it's nice. It's nice because obviously I hadn't been around West Ham or stuff like that for a long time. So get around and then obviously that is when it changed. And I went after the game. I went to the Central Pub because all my mates were in there, like the pub down the road. When it was there, it's gone now. But I was just got pissed up or whatever and drinking and that. And I still got all the kit in my bag and everything like. And I just come on lads whatever. And it was just like fucking hell, this happened. And I obviously wouldn't stop talking about it. And then the next day, 2 week was just like full on of getting interviews, and I felt important, and obviously where I'm at now, looking back on that, it was very much just to feel like liked and stuff like again,
To
which
feel
I felt
loved
like
again.
I felt useless for so long and worthless and all this crap and stuff because just what I was doing in my life, my work, I hated everything. I was just getting through my Mr. Pregnant, but even that was just like I can't wait. But this, and I had money problems and worries and all this rubbish that everyone does, but I couldn't deal with it like a normal person. I drink to excess and stuff and black out and get in trouble and stuff like that. It was happening in my life quite more regularly, more and more. And basically, it got to that. And then after a week of that dying down, I was back to square one. It was actually
You
even
wanted that
worse.
fix again, weren't it? Because it was like that's so. It's like high in it, and then it comes down, and it's like that's like with people who are footballers and
Yeah,
people who like go do concerts like rock stars.
yeah,
They after they retire, they then probably go into drink and drugs because they want that high that they get off the pitch every night or off the concert every night. And yet that was it, innit? You'd had that, and it was like
yeah,
right, I want it
yeah.
again.
I mean, 2 days. I think it was the next day. I was back in Forwards in Dagenham. So,
Yeah,
but I was on my phone the whole time because I was just banging out Twitter saying, "Look how good my penalty is. I'm the best penalty taker in the world. Look, like being a twat." Yeah, but it was a case of like that. But it was like that went on. But then after that, and then the baby come a couple of weeks. And my first daughter come a couple of weeks later, a few weeks later, and it sort of masked that for a while. And I was just
bubbled
sort
over.
of busy but I was going out a bit more because obviously you had to whip baby's head and all this stuff. But then when I had them moments on my own and stuff, it got bad. It's really bad. And then I would say the next 5 years, 4 years of my life was awful. Was probably the worst. Was terrible in regard to my mental state, my addictive problems that I got, and where my life went to,
Yeah,
and although it didn't, I mean, it wasn't solely the football stuff because there's other things that in life, your upbringing, all bits and pieces evolve in it. But I kept going back. One of the things that was so prevalent was that, like, I was meant to be a footballer. That was
yeah.
what was it. When I was a kid, that was it. And it's not like a pipe dream. It wasn't like I could. I was fucking there. I
You were
was there.
you were a pair of shin pads away from being it, really, weren't you?
Yeah,
In all
yeah,
honesty,
yeah. And I always say this to even my missus or people don't really understand football as much. Yeah, if I'd got, I think two things. One, if I'd been at a different club and it happened, I don't think I would have been affected as much. And I actually think I would have had a career in football because I
yeah,
think I wouldn't have been affected so much by it being West Ham because that took that quite to heart. But the
yeah.
other that was quite a big thing I felt for me because, as I told you before, everything was taken to heart. Like everything, every loss, every bad performance by the players, by whatever. But the other thing was my age. So when you get released at 16, although it's heartbreaking, you think thingy. Most people go into careers and they do whatever and they live their life and they play a bit of Sunday league with their mates and this is what it is. It's not a problem. But
Mm.
when you get that little bit, quite a bit, and then I weren't earning massive money, but it was good for my age from where I'm from, and it was okay, and I was getting free things and this, that, other, and you get a little taste of it. So have it for about 3 or 4 years, and then when that goes, I believe this is why I think I was trying to get into clubs and try. This is something I'll talk to you further down the line. That my experience, I believe, still is there's still others that sort of the same, but mine's unique in regards to I think it released before my pro. I got the pro, I got to a certain stage, and then it was taken. And when you're 22, it's completely different. Not like when I got released, it weren't like they have money management people now. They have people to look after bits of money for you. They have people to put you on courses and guide you in certain ways. Mine was cheers, bye. Fuck off. That's it. And considering I've been there for 12 years, that really affected me. That was one of the biggest things. So it was like, oh, cheers. Like what? And that angered me and then all that stuff. So yeah, sorry I went around the ass a little bit, Russ, but going back to that point was, I got to, after the testimony of my baby, and even after a month or so later, I'd had the moments where it was awful. And then the next 3 or 4 years was crazy. Like was mad, mate. It was.
It's almost like it does seem. Listen to you, like history repeating itself as well. So as you said, the from 10 to 8, then Pardew, then it goes down, and then the noble thing comes up again, and you plateau for a bit, and then it hits you down again, innit? And it's like, and obviously I know you got really bad, and then in essence, your mate sort of intervention, really, weren't it? To sort, got to get the PFA involved, thankfully, in sporting chances and stuff, and sort of turned it around. And and as I said, it's almost it does seem a little bit like it's come full circle now. Back with the academy alumni and stuff, and I saw you guys there. There's Lewis Page and all that lot as well, and it seems that there's but it was having that, and again we've referenced it being Men's Mental Health Week this week. Having actually, and I remember listening to your when you spoke about it very eloquently. I thought with Dave and X, a while ago, and saying, the PFA basically said you've got to call me if you want the help.
Yes,
and you're like, fuck off, I don't, you call me type thing. But it's so important, isn't it? It's so important just to, if you're feeling a bit off, you're feeling a bit funny, because, as you said, you can go into really dark places, very quickly.
What is, especially men, and we're stubborn fuckers, and we're full of ego, we're full of whatever we do, we're full of ego, and that was the biggest thing for me. Like, when that happened, and I got to the point where I was, when I say on my arse, like there was nothing lower, like. I was sleeping in a car in certain days. I was out the house. I had no money, no job, debt, mad stuff were happening, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And it just, even that, I got to the point where they said, right, you need to call us. So basically, they're saying to you, you need to call us because we need help. I was still like, no, you call me. And I think it was because I was scared to hear what they were going to tell me. And they were offering me the help there, but just taking that first step, and begrudgingly I done it because I still didn't. I think I wanted the help, but I was so probably scared to just what they're going to tell me. Like, I think they're going to tell me what I think.
It's scared to admit it, innit? It's to admit it. That's what it is.
And there's nothing. And what I've come to find is that it's the strong people that can do that. It takes courage to do that, and I've done that basically, and thankfully I did. I just spoke to the one person, and that genuinely has changed my life. Like, where my life's at right now, I can't think, if I made it as a professional footballer, I had the career of 20 years, that couldn't feel as good as I feel now. I don't believe that. I might do, but I'm just telling you how I feel now, because what's happened especially last year or two, just through making that call, getting help. And look, I was fortunate enough. Well, I was a member of the PFA, so I got help with it, and then they put me for the rehab centre at Sporting Chance, and 28 day rehab treatment centre. But there are other avenues. There's so many good numbers you can call. There's good people. I think they always say speak to someone, and I think that's a good start. But the one thing I always say to people is speak to the right people. There's always good. There's always speak to someone, and I totally get that. Opening your mouth is the hardest thing to do. You do that, and once you do that, speak to the right people, because as long as people love you, even if I'll get it first of all, it might be your partner or your mum or your dad or whatever, but ultimately they aren't professionals.
Professionals. Yeah.
They don't win. They just want you to get better. So the first step is that, but there's so many good causes and charity stuff out there. But it just took me to go right. Okay, yeah, blah blah blah. Spoke to fuck, and then I went spoke to him again. Then I spoke to him the next day, and I spoke to him every day. And they said, "Yep, you're fucked. You need to come in here." and then I went for the process, and it saved, or it definitely saved my life because that's where I was at. So
no, totally.
And it was it's an amazing place. It's an amazing thing to see, and it was the start of a new way of life, mate.
Yeah. And as I said, it's like, as I said, it just seems to have come like full circle again. Back sort of being involved with the academy, doing a bit of coaching as well, and and it's a real, it's taken a while to find the path back to West Ham, but it's always been there, but it's been buried, isn't it? It's been buried underneath. Come up a little bit of Mark's testimonial, then it got buried again, and now it's back up, and it's a really very, I don't sound fucking corny, but very inspirational story, Darren. I think there's a lot of people who can take solace in sort of the journey you've had, and now, as you said, you're better than ever, really, mentally with yourself and things, and that's how it should be, man. That's how it should be.
Yeah, I mean, right. I said, gone full circle, mate. It's just amazing. I say, being back in not just the West Ham, being my job now. I have my own football company, so I work in football again. I never believed that could happen again, and obviously my family and everything else that comes with it and stuff. So it has gone that way, but it's a mad journey, but it's been fun at times. It's still fun. We still have fun.
You still have fun. You still have fun. It's not all boring. It's not all boring. It's still fun, and it's like you're doing what you love doing. You didn't want to be fucking working at Fords in your overalls. You'll be on the football pitch, and it might have taken you 20 years to get there, but it's done.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. Yeah.
And that's what's the main thing. Right. We've been going for like an hour and a half. I haven't even asked your favourite 11. Anyway, we'll do it. We'll go through it because people want to know. Because as I said, you're in a unique position, in that you've been a West Ham fan, you've been involved in the first team at West Ham. And so, there's lots of, as I said, everyone we've had on the channel, apart from Ria Coker, never gave an 11 because he was like, let the fans decide or something really nice.
Something like that.
Sit at the fucking fence, Nigel. And Bish, because he didn't want to upset anyone. Bish. I reckon I could get an 11 out of him when he was. And Harry Redknapp never gave me his 11 because he was too busy talking about Bobby Ferguson.
Harry, 11. Come on, son.
Exactly. Although I do have it from a recording when he was like years ago. So he put an 11 together, and as I said, fans, the players, and it's a generational thing, So it's like it's players you've seen, players you played with, So we couldn't put Bobby Moore in our side. I never saw Billy Bonds play, so I was done. I had to put, so I couldn't put Bonds. I had to put Gary Breen, that type of thing,
Oh, I didn't put him in, did you? Fucking
no. Oh, Barry Green, God bless him. So in terms of the Blewitt 11, who's in goal? We always so this will finish nicely. We've done the serious bit. We're going to talk about the fun stuff now.
Right. Can I be again? I know we've talked for long, but I've got off with special mentions as well. Can I do that?
I love honourable mentions as well. Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go with Ludo. Yeah. So again, these are people I've watched and thinking my goalkeeper is going to be Ludo McCloskey, the biggest balls in football. Yeah, for one. but just seeing Ludo in goal, obviously the Man United game was iconic. But when he used to have Ludo in goal, my name is Ludo McCloskey because when that song, when I was a kid, I loved it. Just a giant, wasn't he? I don't know. I just felt he did make mistakes, but I just felt safe with Ludo. I just felt safe. Yeah,
and the fact he's still got a song and he's still singing the song so many years on since he's fucking left.
Yeah. I remember singing that in the playoff semi-final when I didn't go to the game when I was actually at West Ham, singing it in the crowd and getting the crowd going, and they realised one person recognised me and went, "Are you fucking don't play it?" I was starting all of a sudden, Ludo. again, this is players I've watched and I've been around. So not Phil Park because he's a bit before my time. But I've mentioned Jimmy Walker because Jimmy's the geezer. I love Jimmy, and even though he's a midget for a goalie, he was a great goalie and a great bloke. All right, and obviously and Saka as well.
Lovely,
I like.
and he's just done the 3 Peaks challenge, isn't he? I just saw with Mark and that lot. So
yeah, him and Mark Phillips, so amazing, mate. Well done. Raise those,
yeah,
mate.
exactly. Right, okay. Ludo's in.
Right.
Let's go. Let's go the easy ones. Let's go. Who would be your left back?
Right, so I'm gonna play 4. Do you have to ask me that?
Well, I'll put in Herita Lunga instead. No problem. He had the scary eyes, didn't he? Herita Lunga.
No, there's only one man in there.
There's only one, Julian Dix.
Boy, get him in. My idol growing up, legend. I wanted to be like him. Probably one of the best left footers in the Premier League era, I believe. At that time, left back. Should have played for England. Just amazing. As a kid, couldn't believe. I told you this before. I could not believe. I thought he was the best left back in the country. When I used to watch him as a kid, I couldn't believe how good he was. Scored loads of goals, hard as nails. Just what I epitomised being a West Ham fan was about as a kid.
What I liked about Julian, and again, when we've spoken about him quite a lot, 'cause obviously a lot of people pick him, obviously, is there's not many players I can think of who played left back who could get the crowd off their feet like he did. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you can get, Declan Rice used to, when he did one of his marauding runs, or Nobes with a chat. But Julian Dix, if the game was just a bit quiet, he'd put something on someone and everyone would be up.
That would be it. And the other thing was when he used to get the ball about 40 yards out, he'd drive with it, and I think he's going to shoot, and he'd get to 35 yards, and you'd be screaming, shoot, because you thought he's got a chance of scoring for you. Even as a kid, I just couldn't believe. But the other thing was when at Mo's testimonial, before I went on, he stand on touchline, he tapped me on the shoulder, he went, get on there and fucking smash someone. And just before I ran on, and I'm like, did you literally tell me to smash someone? Which I didn't do, obviously. But yeah, that was sticks to my mind forever. So that was a weird.
I remember a game against Man United, and someone mentioned it, and I had to go back and watch it. And there was a part it was Upton Park, and there was a ball came over, and he had Eric Cantona behind him, and his back was to Cantona, and the ball went over his head, and he took it on the toe and then flicked it over Cantona's head, and Eric just went, "Yeah, it was that fucking good." Right, Julian's in. Let's go playing 4. Let's go right back. Who's gonna be right back?
Right. So it was a toss up, but I was gonna go Tim Breaker, but I'm not. I'm gonna go with who I think got hammered a year and was probably for one season was amazing, and I got to sit in his Ferrari with him when I was a youngster. So that was another point. It was Sebastian Schemmel. Yeah. That season.
My man.
It was it 99 maybe 2, I can't remember, but he was incredible that year. I don't think it was 1 or 2 years. I couldn't believe how good he was. Again, I just thought because he was a French player, he's foreigner. I thought we've got this glitzy right winger who's rapid, he can get up and down, he could cross the ball. I just thought he was brilliant, mate. I thought he's good.
Loved him. I love him. And do you know why I love him? Because you talk about he was only here for 2 years maybe. He was on loan when he got him on loan. He was good, and then we signed him. And then he's again randomly he's a close friend, and he always says he went Trevor Sinclair cut his hair, and then he became shit, and so. And so we've said he loves West Ham. He absolutely love. I mean, he's got he's got West Ham tattoos. He did a in Redbridge a few weeks. He was brilliant. He's got the restaurant, the restaurant in Luxembourg called Upton Park. And what he's got, I'll send you a picture of it afterwards. He's got this fucking wall projection. Like one of those big canvas light boxes of him playing in a West Ham shirt at home, and it's like this big, and he walks past every. Honestly, I'll find it and I'll send you.
That's tough. What a man! He's definitely in the captain.
He's definitely in. He's in. Seb is in. First centre half.
Right. This was. You know what? This was harder than I thought. Centre halves, yeah. But the one I'm gonna put in. Fuck. Right. The one I'm gonna put. I can't put Bob Moore, Billy Bonds because it's before me. I know he was left back, but I'm gonna go with probably one of the best English centre halves of all time, Rio Ferdinand. I'm gonna go Rio Ferdinand because when I see him play, he said I was a youngster. He wasn't a centre half. He was what if he played now, he'd fit into the game now where they want to play and stuff like that. He was just I think he started as a centre midfielder really. So I think that helped. And I think he was just so good on the ball, obviously he went to Leeds. But it's just different to what we had. Like I just couldn't or what the coach really. I just couldn't believe how good he was on the ball. He was quick, he was strong. And he was and like you looked up to him because he come like from the youth team. So you thought, fucking hell, we have a chance here. Even though he was different level. But yeah, amazing player, like serious good player.
Yeah, and he was sort of one of that crop, wasn't it? That golden crop. He was sort of the first one that really came in. You know, obviously then Frank and Veris and Carrick, but he was the first one of that sort of golden era. And yeah, big. Yeah, he was in mine as well. Was he in mine? No, wasn't him. Was he in mine? I told you mine. Was he in mine? Yeah, I think it was him. Yeah, it was in mine. Yeah. Actually, 3 of this 4 are in mine already. So yeah, and I don't think you're going to put Ian Pearce in because you laid one on him. So I don't think he's going to get it. So who's going to partner Rio?
Right. This I've got to be honest, I still don't know, but I've got to give. I don't know if you remember him. I've got to give an honourable mention. Yeah. Do you remember when we got on loan Hannu Tinnerman?
Yes.
What?
What a player.
Mate, I don't know. I didn't know who he was when he turned up. Finland. I could not believe it. Silky. Again, he's a bit like Rio actually, but he was. I don't know. He was so calm. I don't know. He was. I can remember watching. It must have been '98 maybe.
It was the Man United game, weren't it? It was the Man United game. Away. He wore that. I just see Hannu in that blue Dr. Martens, and and we wouldn't pay. I think it was 7. I think they wanted £7 million, which was like crazy money back then for him.
He was just class. I remember him coming here. Right, obviously James Collins honourable mention because I just love him and he was just what I epitomised as a centre half. But I'm gonna go with Slaven Bilic. Yeah. And I went to Everton after, but I think Everton after. I think West Ham. I think
Yeah.
I thought brilliant for West Ham. It's him and Mark Reaper again, but I'm gonna go with Slaven because I loved his style of football. Again, I thought he was quite aggressive. Just liked him as a footballer. I really enjoyed watching him play. I think he actually played with Rio as well. So I think I just love that style.
They would have been together, and he was just like he was that first sort of wave of foreign players who like was just cool. He like played the guitar and he was just a cool, just cool. And he makes that fucking horrible shirt look cool.
Look how baggy it is under the arm.
In it. I remember we had Mickey Hughes on. Mickey Hughes, he turned up. He came here. My mother-in-law tried to give him a bacon sandwich, and we had him here a while ago. He was talking about that shirt, and it was so heavy, it was ridiculous, and it was like. I mean, just crazy. Fucking horrible bubbles on it. Went it with 100 on. Oh, I hate that shirt. I hate that shirt. Right. Okay. Nice back four. I like goalkeeper. Right. Okay. Let's go midfield. Let's keep it with 4 as well because I've got it set up. Okay. Let's go left wing.
Right. Okay. I was going to play a diamond, but so
play whatever you put it in, and I'll
This is where I'm stuck, mate. All right. I'm sorry to keep recording for a longer time here, but I'm stuck. Yeah. So I don't have to go diamond, but you're missing the main man for me. If I go diamond, I can't put Stan Lazaridis in because he's a left winger, out and out. He's probably, I'm telling you, I don't know what, I was fascinated with this man. I loved him as a youngster. I thought he was unbelievable, which is the most direct winger I've ever seen. He had that flat head, which I really liked, square flat head, just up and down. He could cross the ball. But I'm going to go diamond, and I'm going to play. Oh, fucking hell, mate. What do I do here? I'm going to go.
Put Lazaridis on the bench. I'll give you a bench player.
Okay, I'm going to have Isle Berkovic. 100% is in.
Oh, what a player! What a player!
Like like Yossi Benayoun come along when I was there, yeah. And as a fan, obviously I watched both, and they always had comparison between him. And Yossi
Yeah.
was unbelievable as a footballer. Like he went Liverpool, Chelsea, unbelievable, yeah. But I still believe that Berkovic was better. He was doing things that he shouldn't have been at West Ham. He could play them through balls. He's just put like when we had John Arts and the Kitson up front, people like that. He's playing them through. He just put people in all the time. He'd find them little pockets and just so good on the ball, so small, but just could not get the ball off him. And I was there that day at training ground when Arts had booted him in the face. I was training that day as well, so I was.
I think that was Bertie's first training session with the
because
first team
Bertie
as well.
sent me the photo and said, "I'm in that photo in the car park bit," and I said, "I was the other side of the fence, Bert." I was only young, but mate, what a player! He's in. All right, he's 100% in.
Yeah. And I mean that season when Hartson got like 26 goals or 24 goals, something like that season, most of them were bloody Berkovic assists. Yeah,
he was
he's on fire.
Unbelievable.
All right. Eyal's in. Now, actually, what's funny about Eyal is if he's a lot of these players, if you see them now, you know, you can sort of like, that's Slav, that's Julian. And when you see Eyal now,
right,
he doesn't look like Eyal Berkovic.
Oh, really? Yeah? Is he changed? Well, like Alan Devonshire? That's different.
Yes, but even more so. Bless him, Eyal. If I put him on, you'd be like, "Who's this guy?" You know. So,
mate.
But he's still a legend. Right, Eyal's in. Who's next in this diamond?
Right. Right. I've got to go with Joe Cole. Joe Cole's in. Joe Cole's in. Probably the best youngster youth team player at 18 coming through in the country. Everyone wanted to sign him. I watched him as a youth team player. I could not believe the things he was doing. I got to train with him, coming through the system as well. But obviously he had a great career. I still think he could have done more, but with injuries and stuff. But what a player! You put Winterburn up. So.
And also, I put Winterburn up. Sorry. Well, Nigel was a great left. He was a great left back.
There we go.
There we go.
And I think he was there the season we got relegated. I think he was there, but he was Captain Young. But you could just tell, mate, he was too good for West Ham. Like at that time, like what was happening, and it was destined for massive things. It was just such like the technique on the ball. It was ridiculous. I've never seen it before. And I say I got to see it firsthand as well, so it was amazing.
What was interesting with Joe, and we had him on a few weeks ago, and he was talking about we talk about, you know, as you said, a lot of the kids got signed on the pitch, and obviously he was signed on the pitch, and it was a Chelsea game, and he was like, nowadays with like mental health and stuff like that, I don't think that would have happened, because it was like I was 16, I was like a real head fuck, you know, it's like everyone's blowing wind up my arse, and it's like. But great guy. And he puts Schemmel as right back as well.
Does he? Oh, there you go. Then.
Seb was very happy with that as well.
We know what we're talking about.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So we got Berkovic. We got Cole. Who's next?
Right. This is where. Yeah. Oh, mate. All right. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna play the furthest one in the diamond. I know for sure. Is Dimitri Payet, okay?
Yeah.
You can snake him off all you want, but this man was one of the best players I've ever seen play for West Ham. I could not believe the things he was doing. Obviously, everyone knows who he is. Ain't got to introduce him, especially people probably watching this and stuff. Just fucking, mate, some of the goals. He was the one that you spoke about earlier. Before he got the ball was going towards him, everyone would stand up. Yeah. And I'll be watching, I'll be like, he's going to do something here. Here we go. And he does it every week. Like, that's just amazing. Like, unbelievable talent. What a player. Like,
and it's very, and that was very rare when he was there that we actually got. I think that was the first player in a long time that we bought who was actually in their prime.
Yeah.
We tended to buy players what I used to call the bookend. So it's either we bought them young and they'd go off and do really good things, or we'd buy them like Teddy and they were at the end. And like he was the first, I mean, you know, World Player of the Year. He was like in the hat for the final. It's like it's a bit different now. We're buying players, you know, like Bowen and stuff like that, and like Caduce, but then it was like fucking hell, this guy's, you know, a world beater, and he was. Yeah, and I think this. I think it's now. I mean, he's playing in Brazil now. He's playing at Vasco da Gama, and still at 36, he's still he's on YouTube clips with stuff, and I love it.
Even like the solo runs, like you just didn't see it for like there was you just didn't. I didn't see it in the Premier League. I was just like, well, what? How have we got this player? He was just incredible, mate. He was just such a talent. What a player!
Yeah, big fan of Dimitri. He was in my side as well. Right, okay, so we've got Payet, Berkovic, Joe Cole. Who is the fourth man in this in this triangle?
I've got a lot of flair in there, innit? I've got a lot of flair. So my main concern was the other way. Honourable mentions for obviously Ian Bish Bosh Bash, John Moncur, because the funniest things on as a sub, in my opinion, when linesman, he used to copy the linesman's runs, he used to sit in the West End.
Do you remember? He couldn't get away. He used to do. There was like the woman linesman, and he would be like, he can't like nowadays. It's like.
The thing was, he'd come on and he'd intentionally get booked when he'd come on and smash something to get even because I used to chat with him for like 1 minute or 2 minutes. He said, "I'm going to kick someone and get booked and stuff." But a very good player as well. But yeah, so I was going to put my mate in there. I was going to put Nobes in there, but I think I'm gonna. Sorry, Mark, I can't. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go with who I see play. I played with a little bit. Went to Man United. Obviously, went to Spurs first. I'm gonna go with Michael Carrick.
Yeah, such an underrated player.
I think everyone says that, but I think players that played with him realise how good he was. What I see from going through the system, I've got to train with him a bit, as I said. He could pass with both feet, easy and quick and rapid. Like he wrap balls into you, and left, right foot, just kept the ball moving. I think, especially if I'm playing that team, I've got all that flair. I need someone who can get their foot on the ball and find them. So,
and he's one of those players. Every time he's left the club, they have lost something. So he left West Ham, and we never really replaced. And then, like when he went to Spurs, and he left Spurs, never replaced him. He went to Man United, never. He reminds me. Lewis Orford reminds me a lot of Michael Carrick, the way he plays. Because Carrick always doesn't matter how many players he had on him, he had time on the ball. He just made time. And it was like never looked rushed. And Lewis is very like that. When you see him play, he'll be hounded by 2 or 3, but he never seems to panic.
Who's where his next pass is because his body position is right and he can pop it off and go another angle where he can play first or 1 or 2 touch so quickly. Just a great player. Can at 4 or 5 players with 1 pass, one of them players. Just I'm going to be technical here, but that's the sort of I love crap passes in, and I love that. So yeah, I think with that flair I've got in front. So Stan Lazaridis, I'm sorry. I love you still. Nobes, mate. Sorry, D's, but you didn't make it.
There you go. Okay, there's your 4 up front. Who are we going with?
Right, let's get the obvious one out of the way. The greatest player I've ever seen play for West Ham.
Mido. Let me just find him.
It's Sebastian Abu. No, it's not.
Do you know what? I've got a funny story about Sebastian Abu, right? So I'm trying to get him on the channel, right? And he leaves me. He doesn't. Do you get people like this, right? They don't. You text someone, they don't text you back. They voice note you back, and it's like, but it's like
he voice notes you.
Yeah, but it's a really weird voice note.
I want a voice note.
It's like
I'm jealous, mate.
I will send it to you. It was a Christmas one. It was like, "Merry Christmas, Russ. This is Samasi Abu." And it's like,
oh well, I'm jealous. I'd love a voice note of Samasi Abu.
I love a voice note of Samasi. I'm trying to get him on the channel. I think he's he's currently living in Ivory Coast. He has a football foundation, I think. But yeah, Samasi Abu. Yeah, such a random. But yeah, let's talk about PDC.
Let's talk about D.I. All right. Love, this bloke was, again, fan. I got to watch him. Then I got to train with him. And he put me on my arse badly. Got me when he used to do the chop and then chop and then chop. And you knew it was coming, but you could not.
Everyone fell for it.
And world-class defenders. And I thought, how is this man doing this? But just watching him, I just couldn't believe it. And he'd do it in games. And I remember he'd done it to me in training. And I was only 15, 16. And I didn't care. I went home and told everyone about it. I was so proud that he done it to me. but just a maverick, just the things he'd do, like obviously the bad moments, but just the goals he scored, like obviously the volley, but the one against Chelsea I remember as well, and just the craziness you saw. Like I love that Italian raw, fucking man. I love that anyway. Everyone used to say, "Oh, he'd be the West Ham manager." I don't think he can manage this level because he's
not in a month of Sundays.
no,
It'd be.
Just what I love about a player.
There's two types of players I think West Ham fans love. There is what I call the Brooklyn players and the Bonds players. So it's like the Brooklyn players, Silky, Joe Cole, Berkovic, and then there's the Bonds players like, Repkas and, Moncurs. And very rarely does a player sort of, there we go, don't worry, bro. There we go. Very rarely does a player fit in the middle. But Di Canio was in the middle.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah,
and,
that makes sense. That makes sense. We
did an ex-player night at Brentwood a couple of months ago, about 6 months ago, with TC, and Di Canio was with even with Di Canio, and Cotti was doing the comparing, and you can't fake the love he's got for the club.
No way. You can't. It's impossible. You see him going, I say, when he's in Italy and he's doing these events and stuff, and he's always throwing up the sign. He's always doing whatever, and he's just what. And again, like I got to see him in that testimonial, and I was just like, Paolo, you don't know who I am. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was trying to tell him about a million things about it, but he thought, who the fuck is this geezer? I was a fan. I grew up around the area. I lived around there. He said, "You live here?" I said, "I lived around that corner," and then I played for West Ham. I was trying to explain to him. He didn't fucking clue what I was talking about. No. But I was, you are I love you. I love it, and I'm glad you. Like, and he was like, "Oh, good. Fuck off." Like it was just like, mate, it's just amazing. Like it's just
he's top man.
He's got an aura.
Yes, he's got. And he still has that aura around him.
Yeah.
He still has that aura, and the best players in the world do. Best players, best technique. I mean, one of the best export. I mean, in theory, if it wasn't for Harry taking a chance for him, he could have been. He wouldn't have had the Premier League career that he had. So because he was just starting off at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he? Really, then he pushed the ref over, and so and became one of the best foreign players to play in the Premier League. To be honest. Right, who's the last piece of the puzzle?
Right, last piece of the puzzle. So I'm gonna go. So honourable mention to some fans don't like him, Jermaine Defoe, because of his strike. He was one of the best finishers I ever see, ever. Up close, and I knew him a little bit anyway. He's growing up, so I think. I'm gonna go with, you've mentioned him already, but the first ever video that I watched when my house was a baby blue case VHS 85-86 season, and it was Tony Cottee. And I'm going to go Tony Cottee because if you have Di Canio floating around that hole and you've got Tony Cottee shoulder going that way, you've got the perfect, I believe, partnership there to do both things: score goals in the box and also have magic in and around it. I just think growing up, as I mentioned right at the start, it used to be Tony Cottee 84th minute scoring goals. He'd always be a top scorer, and I just thought, I used to watch him obviously as a youngster, being a fan, and just thought he's gonna score the most goals ever in the Premier League. Like he's always scored. As a West Ham fan, I think he'd only score like 10 or 11 goals a season. That's how much our top scorer would get in them days.
Yeah,
but he scored 10 again. He's incredible. It was that now. He was in the 90s. That's what he was. Like Tony Cottee top scored 11 or 12 or whatever it was. And I know in the 86 he scored more, but in the 90s that's what it was because he left and come back. But even when he left, I was really gutted. I was really, really upset he left. But I just think as a goal scorer, his record's unbelievable. But local lad, West Ham through and through. And just like if you got someone like Di Canio behind him and he's pulling them the other way, just I think great partnership.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I know it's a diamond, but I put it into 4 anyway because you could put to be honest, you should put it in 4. But yeah, nice team, Daz. We're moving around a bit, don't matter. But anyway, it's a good team, my man. Good team, my man. And I just want to congratulate you because I believe this is the longest interview I've ever done on this channel. So congratulations.
You're going to have to do a lot of chopping up here, mate. I do apologise.
No. All out in one go, mate. All out in one go. Terry Connolly will be pissed off because I've seen Terry, and Terry's Mr. I mean, he's Mr. Autograph man. I mean, he's always and he always comes up to me and goes, "Am I still the longest?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's going to be distraught.
Two man in town who can bullshit from a tower of 54. Get in now. No,
There we go.
Yeah. Well, sorry, it's a bit longer than 54.
No, I loved it, mate. No, mate, it's great, mate. Honestly, it's been a really good chat. We've spoken about loads of different stuff, and as I said, we touched on a bit of dark stuff as well, which I think is really important. These things we finished a bit light, but it's really important, man. And as I said, and as I said, this book is all about those types of stories. I think Paul said like 90. I think it's 97% of academy players don't play a single minute of Premier League football. And I think people forget about that. People assume because they're in academy, they're going to be playing for West Ham. They're going to be da-da-da. And it's like, well, that's not always the case. But you can still have a life, and you can still have a hell of a life like you've had. And then, with all that, but still with that West Ham thread. I love the fact it's like still like through the whole of that period. It's been great, man. Absolutely superb.
I appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you. Follow my stuff on Instagram, J_kicks3, all my football stuff. On Facebook, J_kicks. And it's where I'm doing lots of one-to-ones, group sessions, birthday pies, all my football stuff. So sorry for the plug, but it's where building a business here. So yeah, any follow, any likes, any shares, any contact me to book on, it's all there. It's all from a place of knowledge and experience. It's West Ham friendly. If you're West Ham, get yourself down. There's big things happening in Essex where I live now. And please just keep supporting because it's been a great last 12 months I've had, and just want to continue it. It's my love, and
it's a start, mate. I think the start of good things to come, man. And it's great because there's lots of guys who are sort of getting back into love of football, and it seems that you sort of lost that love, and it's back again, and the love for West Ham as well, and we all love West Ham, so. And hopefully a lot more will come back to love West Ham this season as well. Let's hope. Anyway, mate, thank you very much, and also thanks to everyone else for watching. You know what to do, all the likes, shares, comments, all that crap. But for myself and Darren, take care, stay safe, stay warm. Talk to people. It's good to talk. Bob Hoskins said it is. It's good to talk. And until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Come on, you irons. Cheers, guys.